Hi everybody, I am back finally, and I know I'm filming this on the 18th, so it's been a while. I have, as I have mentioned to you earlier on, been through quite a journey with my house. It's a vibrational journey with my house construction over, honestly, since August, but most importantly, since the last 2 months. So I've disappeared recently because I have not had time. I've been working on my house. I don't know if it'll be this video or not. We'll just kind of see because there's some messages that want to come through. But I want to share with you this mystical experience I have had with reconstructing parts of my home. And I think you'll enjoy it. So you'll get that either here at the end, possibly. I just don't want videos to go on too long, but you will definitely get it at some point. Anyway, my point is that is why I have not been around in this part of January, even though I was hoping that things would be done and wrapped up, but in a way for myself, they're just kind of beginning. That said, hello. I'm so happy to be here again, and I hope your 2025 is, how do I want to say this? That you're managing through the waves of time in your journey. Because as we know, in the collective, we will continue to unfold things that we will see in pockets, which we're already seeing in 2025. We can pick a multitude of things in this country, United States in particular, of course, across the world. Again, as I had brought through previously, and they've said this a couple times in the last few months, is that what we typically would call the apocalypse, these kinds of things, it's actually happening inside of us, but what we will see is certain events happening in local, and they've always used the word local, more local areas. Anyway, we've already talked about that, but I just wanted to reiterate that. I hope those of you, who are experiencing anything difficult are, again, being able to find your center, which is what this video is about. But first, what I want to do is I want to tell you something that came through for me. So we have in the night sky, again, I'm not an astrologist, but we have in the night, and I always know enough to kind of just be able to talk about it energetically. So we have in the night sky now, I believe it is currently 4 or 5 visible planets. There are a couple of them, I want to say it's Venus and Mars, that will over the next couple of years be much brighter than their norm. And then I think it's on the 21st and the 25th, and then sometime again in March, but most particularly now this week, there will be the ability to see, I think it's 4 or 5 planets from east to west in the sky. That said, it's so interesting because I was just kind of finding that fascinating. I was standing on my deck the other night and just kind of looking for them, because we can see some of them, obviously on occasion, but this is more of like, wow, they're showing up now, right? So what I got was the word witnessing. And I'm like, now remember, planets have their own consciousness. Earth has her own consciousness. Planets have a consciousness. Everything that is alive has a consciousness. Anyway, so what they said is, and this is so cool, it's as though at this time now there is a witnessing with the planets showing up, witnessing us, witnessing Earth in her crowning rebirth, as we've talked about for January, in how we are crowning. We won't go through that again, but here's the thing. The witnessing is happening, and the witnessing also by these planets also is energetic. It's like support. I just got huge chills and took a huge deep breath. And I wish you could feel this, but it's a witnessing of being able for those planets to witness this crowning, this rebirthing. And it is not just by chance or some cycle that it's happening now and this week in particular. Okay, there is a energetic infusion, they just said, of that consciousness into the Earth's consciousness. To, again, it's like us, right? Collectively, a pebble gets thrown into a pond and it's ripples, right? So what I'm getting is, in addition, this is so cool. In addition to the sun infusing all of its power through the solar flares and whatnot, we also now are having these planets show up for what they'll just call this witnessing. Um, okay, so I'm just going to go from here. I'm also going to finish with a poem today that aligns with this channeled poem from the Light Keepers. I think they're going to want to do more of this for some reason. But anyway, point here is what we're doing is it's a little bit like witnessing the birth of, witnessing the rebirth. However, this isn't happening overnight, right? But what I'm getting now is that they're here in support of, is I keep getting in support of for this moment in time, in support of, because what we're going to start going through now, if we use this crowning or rebirth, we're going through the labor pains, okay? We're starting to go through the labor pains, and it's going to be over at least the next 2 years. And I think many of you are somewhat at least aware of this, and I'm talking collectively speaking. Okay, so how it shows up in our journey, as we've talked before, is different. It's frequency, vibration, what we're meant to encounter in our journey. We won't go through all that, but the point in this is we are witnessing now a collective crowning, but now we're moving into, especially in the springtime, I keep getting springtime for important, like the starting of the real labor pains, like the real push, and it feels like it's a long labor. Now remember, it's not the kind of labor lengthwise is like a human. It's just, that's the metaphor they're using, okay? So anyway, needless to say, the planets are here to, I keep getting infusion of high vibration consciousness into the collective, in the assistance of Earth in her regaining of her glory. Okay. So part of the point of this video that I wanted to get out to you is, okay, so here we have these times, right? They brought to me, the rebirthing, the crowning, all this, and then showing kind of what is coming and how we will be wanting to be able to understand how we find our center. Okay, how do we find our center? So much of what we have been doing over the early journey that we're in, and remember, we're all different stages, but at the same time, what we do is we build up this ability to be able to center in our true self, in ourself, and not letting the external world drive us, whether it be emotionally, physically, our actions, our reactions. But what they were showing me is, yes, we will as humans have a reaction, a feeling, a moment in time where we will go into the, I don't want to call it the 3D, but more in that, like really rooted into the human experience of how we feel and all our emotions. But the key is, and when these things happen, like I guess you could use the LA fires as a great example, as just one example, right, of witnessing that, whether it's on TV or you're actually, involved, you're in California somehow, people, whatever that is, witnessing that, but not letting it take you into losing self, losing the ability to root in your center. So what we've been doing all this time is we've been building out these practices, building out this ability to take what comes our way and to be able to go, okay, to center in, which is why we talk so much about meditation, getting your spiritual practices in line, really the energy body part of this, but then being able to be aware of when we are in an emotional state, when we are being activated into great emotion, great feeling, very human experience, and being able to feel that, understand where that's coming, but not allow us to take us to the extreme, okay, which we know can happen with humans, obviously, right? Being able to pull back and go, all right, and now I need to find my center. So the question is, how are you able to find your center in what may be difficult times, whether that's personal difficult times, whether that's collective different times? What do you do? What are your practices realigning? We talked about this, I think it was toward the end of the year, taking December and using that as much as you can for yourself and being able to center in and to be able to take that quiet time And remember, our winter months, and I realize our southern hemisphere friends are in their summer, but for this purpose right here, for the northern hemisphere, the winter months of like December, were the being able to, center in, to be able to rest, to be able to reacclimate for our times to come, because we need those times to be able to grow and have rebirth. Think of the land, right? The land rests in the wintertime. The land rests in the wintertime so that it can be ready to spring forth in the spring. It's the same thing with us, okay? And of course, as we've talked before, the earth is counterbalanced, right? We've got southern, northern hemisphere, and everything's it needs to be balanced in the sense that you got winter in the southern hemisphere when you have summer in the northern, and they've told me that's purposeful, right? For that reason, it's about balance. But the point here is we now here are going through that crowning phase, through that rebirthing phase, but at the same time, we need to be able to have established over time, like we have, having taken the time that we needed maybe over this last month or two, because it's going to be well needed in this time to come. So if you don't have a process set up for you being able to find your center when you have these times come in your own journey, you're going to want to really think through that. So again, this is about taking the respites, they just said respites and moments to be able to, what we call, go within, to be able to meditate. Many of you have meditation practices set up. Many of you are very connected to nature. This is one thing that's going to be extremely important for us in the future as well, to be able to root us and ground us and continue for us to be able to find our center. Again, it's going to be able to, it's about being able to witness, again, like the planets are doing, right? Being able to witness what is occurring, but not drowning in the emotional part of that. Now, when you're highly affected by something, that's going to last longer. Okay, it's just human. It's going to last longer. But that part of you, right, that knows, because you've been doing your work, your journey, your processes, will be able to come back into your center more fully. Things like yoga, things like, and we have a tendency to, when we're in these, I'll just say, more anxious times, to drop our practices, or to not, I guess I'll just say, we get distracted because sometimes we're mentally not there. So what I would say is be aware of those times as you're moving through this journey, as you're looking on the outside or even looking at your own journey and experiencing certain things, that you be able to go, oh wait, okay, I've kind of lost my center. I've lost what keeps me rooted and grounded in being able to travel through more, I'll just say, anxious times. I keep using the word anxious because I think that is a real energy that is out there in the collective, in many different ways, right? So we, as those who are able to not like fractal ourselves, like get fractured by all this, and yes, we do that for a moment, and then we go, okay, I need to come back. I need to come back. I need to recenter. I need to find my home, find my center again, which is within ourselves, to be able to then more effectively, all right, and more healthfully deal with what is still there, all right? Deal with that situation or issue, whether it's yours or the collective's, right? To be able to, we can get so immersed in things, okay? Like we can, I guess, okay, I'll just give you a really basic example. When the LA fires started, I don't watch the news, but I think I get the news I'm supposed to get because it just creeps in, right? And I saw this. Well, I started, and I knew what I was doing. I started going out there, and I started looking. I started looking at what was going on, because I wanted to see the status of the fires, right? I could feel myself becoming old me, where I would get really whipped up on difficult collective kinds of things. And I could feel that. And then what happened to me too in this circumstance happened for a very short period of time, because I while it was happening, I knew it was happening, right? And that's the trick of it too. Like being able to understand that you're getting pulled into a place that maybe you recognize from the past and you don't want to be there anymore, and that it doesn't serve you and it doesn't serve anyone else, okay? It doesn't mean that paying full mental attention to something is going to assist anyone. It's more energy and vibration. So pulling yourself back out of that, like I had to do after I started, I'd go look at the news and then I'd get all the political stuff behind it and all the opinions and all the blaming everyone kinds of things, right? And I'm like, oh my God, I could feel myself getting pulled down into, and we become much more sensitive to seeing this happen. And if you're aware, you'll know, like, this doesn't feel good. And it's not putting my head sticking my head in the sand. I know what's happening. I know where I'm more productive. It's being able to find my center again, okay? Understanding what is still going on, knowing how far I can go, and then coming back and regaining, and you'll feel it, you're regaining your higher vibration. And you do feel this. The more you travel this journey, the more you realize, man, particularly when you're getting pulled into highly emotional kinds of things where there's like, lightning bolts being shot out everywhere to everyone and all of that, right? So the point in this is being able to understand that, whoa, I have spent too long here. Where in the past, before maybe your awakening journey like me, I could have lived in that environment, right? I was fighting, I was, doing the thing, I was, talking about it all the time, talking about these things. I was really involved, right? Can't do that anymore in that way. I can be energetically involved, right? I can hold space. I can send love energy. I can work on my vibration that, as we know, then exudes out to others, because it is a network. It is literally a network. As we can't see this. It's like they just said fiber optic network. They just said this in a client session the other day too. Anyway, it's like a network. And when one person lights up, meaning they are working on their own field, they're connecting in with others, and everybody else starts to light up. So this is where we are more useful to the collective than what we might have thought previously in the day, when it was like, oh no, I need to get involved and do the thing. Now that doesn't mean people don't get involved, but it's where you put your energy and how much you let it suck you into the other part of that, okay? So again, finding your center. Where are you going to find your center? Again, where are you going to find your center? And how do you find your center? What are your ways? So cross-check that. You might want to take a look at, this is, I noticed this. What did you notice? Maybe you use the LA fires, or maybe you use the North Carolina flooding as like, how did I feel then? What happened to me in that? What was my process? What's my process when a tragedy or catastrophe happens? Or, how do you feel? How do you act? How do you behave? Do you go out of your body? Are you centered? I'm just throwing this out to you because it's really, really important. It's really important. So anyway, I eventually, after it only took me about 3 days to go, because I knew what was happening at the same time, but I kept wanting to look. And then I kept getting into other things that I didn't want to know about, right? Or that I shouldn't say I didn't want to know about. It's the animosity and the fight rather than the love kind of energy. Anyway, I came back I could feel myself rising back into my frequency. I'm like, okay, this is where I belong now. I don't belong, and I'm not saying this is for everybody, but this gives you an example of me. I don't belong in the fight anymore. I don't belong in that kind of fight anymore. I belong in this. I belong in this. Being able to hold the light and hold the space for those who maybe are with their soul journey in the fight, if that makes any sense, or in the midst of a struggle, okay? Because what we do sitting here in our homes to be able to, whether you're meditating with a group, whether they're doing, rituals, ceremonies, whether you're sitting, saying prayers, whatever that is, that matters, and that links up into the network, all right? So I'm going to stop there. Bottom line, think through how that works for you. Just a little something that came through for me the other day, as well as personal experience, and some of the things that they've mentioned to me that they wanted to talk to you about. So let's see what I know there's something else I wanted to talk about. Okay, so think about it. Where are you finding your center? That's one of the main themes for it today. I think we're going to go ahead and leave my weird little house story, which is kind of fun. If you want to hear kind of like some mystical, magical stuff. I will do that in a different video. And I think what I want to do today, because we covered the planets, we covered where you're finding your center. I'm going to finish with a sweet little poem that really is fitting for the times we are in. Okay, here it is. I hope you enjoy this. This is from the Light Keepers. And just real quickly as a reminder, particularly for those of you who may not know this, part of my early journey was full on bore on channeling. This is how I started channeling poetry. And it's a whole journey in how that happened. I spent a year channeling poetry. And so the Light Keepers, they will on occasion come through with new poetry, but I have a whole collection of this. But anyway, this one came through and I really felt it was fitting for this today. Closer hearts you find in these ever-changing but not understood times of what is found in front of you all around, and the collective too. What we wish you to know is that this is expansion and how it happens, and so not just in frequency do you grow, but as your heart opens, love bestows a deeper feeling from you to another you'll find, if you let yourself sink into the growing waves of love in time. For when love is beating strong, it is true, it adds to the higher frequency of you and is by far the one thing in your way that will more than save the day. All around and ever so, the love frequency is the easiest way to share and oh so bold. Takes a hold of another's heart, and you'll find it makes up for loss of time when love was more difficult to find. For as you give the gentleness of you and a bright smile, or a word or two to another soul in your way, you change the vibration for everyone, we say. Like a pebble thrown in a pond, the ripples extend beyond. But love moves in ways that increase more soul, building a connection quicker in time across the wide expanse of humankind. Even though you feel it may not last, it does. And oh, if you could only see the waves of vibration across the sea of humankind that are affected too, when you share even the smallest kindness in you. The ripples move out from each action you take, growing ever so into waves, then turn into a larger force of more that can then follow your course. Joining with others in the undercurrent, you'll feel a sense of something different in the air, a mist that comes from the waves now too, engulfing all that you do. Each in their way will feel it, we find, living in the new energy of coming times, where swimming in the waters so deep will be love for all and one to keep. Okay, so there is your little poem from the Light Keepers that really kind of lines directly up with where we're at in our journey. I hope things are going well for you during this part of the year. We are quickly moving through our first month, and just will say, take to the night sky. Really take to the sky. I don't know why I'm saying that. I just am. There's just a lot of assistance and a lot of help in this journey of our, like I said, our crowning rebirth. They just said crowning rebirth, and they're showing a crown. And not just a crowning of birth, but a crown. Oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. And I love their metaphors. But anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this message. Again, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Carolyn Zaiser. I'm a channel, I'm an intuitive guide, and I'm an energy healer. And if you'd like to work with me or take a look at my services, check out purplerainhealing.com, where you can see all of my services. And if you're interested, contact me and I will reach out to you as well. Thank you so much for joining me. I wish you well, and I will see you in the next video.